Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesdays. Happy Taco Tuesday to you all. Grab yourselves a $3 margarita, $2 margarita, and talk to me. How is everyone on this beautiful Tuesday? It is May 30th. We're getting towards June, people. Getting close to summertime. Summertime. So I'm here in beautiful downtown Portland, Oregon. We have started the Rose Festival. That's exciting. Yes, the Rose Festival. So it's been loud with music and celebrations. It's been absolutely great. Cheers, everyone. L'chaim, l'chaim. We're going to do some remote viewings today. We're going to do some blitzes. We're going to have a little fun. And then we're going to review. We have a book club that meets once a month on Tuesdays if you'd like to join us. We read a book that's been recommended to us by somebody who watches, members of our own community. So we're going to be, at the end of today's get together, we're going to be reviewing the book, The Last Thing Claire Wanted for Our Book Club. Yeah, so that was what we chose. And it's been written by one of our own, Karen Fitz-Sanford. Hopefully she'll show up today and talk to us about it. And so that's what's going on. So we're going to do some remotes. We're going to do some blitzes. And then we're going to get together with the book club and talk about the book that we chose. Hi, Claudia. Hi, Melody Harmon. Hi, Melissa. What y'all eating? What y'all drinking? I'm having myself a nice glass of water and a nice cup of coffee. Got up early. Did a bunch of work. And then fell asleep. And couldn't remember. You guys ever take a nap? Because you get up early, and so you feel like I need to take a nap. So you take a nap at like 1 in the afternoon, 2 in the afternoon. And I had a patient at 3 p.m., a telemedicine patient. So I thought, okay, 2 hours. I've got some things to do. I'll have a little nappy. But I kept waking up every 15 minutes and forgetting what time it was. Is it 6 in the morning? And then, oh my God, don't I have appointments today? Forgetting that I had already seen a bunch of patients. And I totally forgot who I was, where I was. So I kept doing that. So I wanted just a nice cat nap. And instead it became a bit of a cat nightmare because I kept waking myself up. Oh, Karen Sanford is here. Hi, Karen. Karen Sanford is the author of this month's book selection. Very good job, Karen. 5 stars. We definitely have to talk about it. I was told by 3 separate people, don't give away who the murderer is because they're still reading the book. Is that still true to the 3 people who texted and emailed me? If it is, we won't tell you. I'm actually confused about who the killer is because I feel like, I don't know. Maybe it was like a few people or something. I don't know. We need to talk. Anyway, so we'll do that a little bit. And then, of course, next month, as I remind you all, another one of the members of the channel, subscribers to the channel, Wanda Webster, her book, Isabel's Starry Night, will be next month's selection. Okay. So what do you guys want to talk about first in terms of remote viewings? Somebody had said, could you please go back to doing the quick 5-minute ones where we get to see you in the actual trance state? As many of you know, I had a habit for 4 years of filming myself in the trance state so that you guys could see what it looks like. People have been telling me interesting things. Sometimes I sleep in an old t-shirt, for example. I'll do a trance, I'll get up, I'll grab the phone. One of the ways you can record after you do a remote is you can just put it on your phone. So people saying, you look terrible, you look like you don't love yourself. And I thought, okay, well, maybe I will only record when I have lipstick on and makeup, but that means no more 2 a.m. 5-minute HCRV live trance, because you either want me to look like a model, which I can do for you, or you want me to just give you the remote. But I think people thought I wasn't loving myself enough, because I would get up and I would be like, ugh. So you guys have also said, we don't care, we just want the midnight messages. So the debt ceiling. Let's talk a little bit about the debt ceiling. Remember last week when I said it would be resolved 3.5 weeks? Well, when I got into President Biden's energy, I felt like he would be giving away things that I wasn't so happy that he would be giving away, like the student debt, and that's what happened. So we have to go back to paying our debts. What is it, next month? Oh, well, life goes on. I had a lot of... Did you see that? I had a lot of fun, not having to pay my student debt. I saved a little extra money for my retirement, went on a few vacations, but that's all over now. So we did have to sacrifice a couple of things, but what else did the remote say? The remote said that MAGA would rebel, and they have rebelled, and they don't want to sign it. But I don't think we really need them, do we? Because we'll get enough Republicans to sign it. Yeah, Shivani, were you one of the people that texted me? No, I do. Okay, so if you read the book, there's an announcement. Do not give away who the killer is, because a lot of the people in our book club have not finished the book. So no problem, Shivani. No, I got a few letters from people saying that they were still in the middle of it. So in terms of the debt ceiling, it'll get resolved. The main thing that we got was that they just were worried about being audited, retaliation auditing. Of course, now they've said they're not going to hire all of these IRS agents to come after. Why do you care if you only have to worry if you're committing a crime, right? So why would you care if we hire more IRS? Because you don't want IRS people snooping around and wondering what you're doing in the Cayman Islands and where that money came from and who gave it to you. Could that possibly be why they didn't want the IRS snooping around, and why that was part of the deal, which goes back to the remote that said that when I was McCarthey, right? Because we do HCRB, not CRB. When I walked in as McCarthey, my number one concern was surveillance. Right. So trying to take pressure off of my MAGA people for the feds and the IRS and retaliatory auditing. Right. So there you have it. Well, when I get the order, we can blitz away. We can ask questions. Somebody had also asked if I could, are the drones in Russia real? Is it put out by who's doing the drones? Yes, the debt ceiling will pass. Here is Moscow. Isn't that pretty? So as you all know, the Kremlin has been hit by drones. The question is, who sent the drones? Drones in Moscow. Oh dear. So it's kind of giving Moscow the feeling that they are a city under siege, right? Because This is something that has also come up in remotes, this idea that anybody with a drone could theoretically weaponize a drone. I was worried about this happening in the United States and attacking certain targets like the White House, right? This could have happened in the White House, protecting against weaponized drones going to certain areas. But it's now happening in Moscow. Somebody is sending these drones. The drones have been weaponized and they're crashing into the Kremlin, wealthy neighborhoods, etc. So what's going on? So when you look at Moscow, it has a center area, which is where the Kremlin is. You have the outskirts. I tried to get myself familiar with Moscow. For example, the criminals are over here. This is you got the Gorsky Park and the spooky area here. I was asked to walk the grid to find out the location that they were coming from. So the location they're coming from is the southeast. It might be backwards, though. You guys might be seeing it wrong. But this is the southeast over here. And over here, we have Moscow University. So what I did is I aligned myself energetically with the energy of the bombs that were hitting Moscow. And then I went backwards following it. Go to the map of Moscow. Look at the images. If you are an HCRV student, maybe we can talk about this on Wednesday. I guess that would be tomorrow at 6 p.m. Class 3. Please read up on your notes, Hands of Light. But let's see what you get. What I get, I can tell you what I get is that the activity is coming from over here. This is where the drones were sent, at least partially. Now, here's the problem. Here is Moscow River, right? Here's the river. Here's the problem. This area where I felt the drones were coming from, because I followed it and I wound up back here. This is the river where ships are coming in the harbor, Moscow Harbor, to bring food and supplies into Moscow. This is where I felt the drones had taken off from. Now it's getting to be a little complicated because there are 3 islands over here. So it's possible that what we're looking at is that those 3 islands is where the drones took off from. But the problem is that the islands are under Russian military control. So in plain words, I followed the drones back to an area, and when I landed there and Googled the area, I was under Russian military base control. So why would drones be sent from this area to hit the Kremlin if this area is under military control? It's crazy. I don't get it. So I felt like it was hostile to the Kremlin. I felt like it was a genuine attack. So there must be something going on from within Russia. Well, people had said, well, maybe they staged the whole thing. No, they didn't stage it. This is an attack. But it appears to be attack from within because the area that they were sending the drones from is highly militarized. And that's what left me as a remote viewer baffled. So what happened was, in this highly remote military area, the drone came in, and you can see it coming in from this area and hitting the Kremlin. Then you have a wealthy area over here where the millionaires and billionaires are living, and that area got hit also. But I'm feeling like the harbor, the warehouses, and this area is where the drones are coming from. And I was happy to do that for you. I also wanted to say that when I went into the energy, it looks like Russia's economy continues to collapse. And for reasons I don't know, because I simply don't have the education, the economic education, it looks like this has some kind of damaging impact on Italy. And something is going to happen. It could be imports, the war, the fact that it's a pasta nation. I don't know what's going on, but I can tell you that this whole thing is having a really difficult impact on, for whatever reason, Italy's economy. And we could be seeing strange things going on in Italy's economy in the coming days. Remember how I had said Cory Booker would be in the news? We're starting to see some strong statements coming out from Cory Booker. You can usually feel when someone's energy is starting to rise. I think he's a very good person, and I see his energy becoming really active in the coming days. All right, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to do the empath prayer. I don't think I have any other remotes for you other than I wanted to give you the location of where the drones were coming from and to also let you know the significance of the location, which leads me to think that the people that are attacking Moscow have Russian military training. So it appears that, it's similar to January 6th in the sense that there were people in the Capitol that had military training that were attacking the American government. You have something similar happening in Russia, particularly when you see in the remote view where these drones were coming from. It would suggest that it's somebody that has a key to the Kremlin or somebody that has access to this type of security that's able to get drones to fly that close. And the fact that they left from an area that's under military protection does not bode well for Putin. Yeah, so that's basically what I wanted to say. All right, are we ready to do the empath prayer and do some blitzes? I think Russia's collapsing. Okay, I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, we say, Amen. All right, so Joel Tilson is asking some questions about Russia. Is Putin hiding? Is Russia collapsing? Well, we know that we've gone into the energy on the war in Ukraine, and it feels like the counteroffensive is very solid. They're going in with 10 times more equipment than they need, and the Russians have no equipment left. So you also have sanctions. You now have pressure on countries that were doing business with Russia not to do business, like India is now being pressured not to do business. China, energetically, when you go into the energy on China, it's so bad energetically. China, I feel like they need help. Like they need economic relief from their allies. They're in no position to be helping anybody because they're going belly up. And I don't think many people know about it. The extent to, look, this is something that I've talked about when I go into the remotes, is that Russia's economy collapses and that China's economy is collapsing. I had done a remote view to try and figure out what was going on with Saudi Arabia because I wanted to understand why Saudi Arabia was being nice to Russia and why they were trying to get along so well with Iran, considering the fact that they've been at war with Persia for 1,000 years. Like, what is going on? So I walked the grid, and I here's the grid. See, some of you have love lives, social lives. This is what I do at night. This is a map of the Middle East and Africa and Europe. What I did was I put myself in the altered state. I did put myself in step 4 of HCRV, and then I focused on my gut, and with my heart open, I sent love to each of these countries from the perspective of Russia, from the perspective of Saudi Arabia, from their perspective, to try and find out what was going on. And what I found is pretty much common knowledge that Saudi Arabia is basically engaged in a blockade. They want to control Africa like a aggressive, dominating husband. They don't want anyone to have her. So when you look at Africa here, and you look at Saudi Arabia is trying to control the means of production. So who's going to help Saudi Arabia means of production to control importing and exporting out of Africa? Saudi Arabia is friends with Britain, the United States, etc. So who's going to suffer? Africa, right? Because they can't get any resources out. So you have pirates in East Africa. They're trying to get their goods out. You have pirates, drugs, etc. Saudi Arabia is invested in keeping Africa down from trade. So what happens? China comes in and Russia comes in, and they try to create new trade routes to bypass Saudi Arabia. So now they're trying to do deals with Russia. Well, maybe we'll buy steel because Russia was going to create a train system between Africa, Libya, etc., which was going to create infrastructure for Africa. Because let's be honest, the West wasn't doing anything for Africa. So it's the old Silk Road. Russia was trying to bypass the blockades. The ships are here, the Somali pirates, etc. That's where we see Italy is slumping because of the economic impact, and people are scrambling. You see all these countries scrambling because because trade is going up because of these blockades, and all these countries are being impacted as they renegotiate trade and create new trade routes. So that's what's going on. And Russia feels, Iran feels that they are an economic hostage, that Russia is an economic hostage of Saudi Arabia. Yeah. So that was what was going on there. Okay. Is Putin hiding? Is Putin hiding? Is anybody having a margarita? No? He could retire. He could retire to his villa and remain a businessman with business contacts. So his feeling is that he doesn't want to give up power. If he does step down, he wants to be the wealthy retired president of Russia who still has the mansion in Siberia and still has the wealth and still has the business contacts. It's about the money and the business power. It's a new beginning for him, but look, devil, he's still chained. And others are still chained to him. 9 of Wands, jailed. It's a relationship, the oligarchs, where you're trying to get closer and closer and closer to the power. The more power, the more money. Money and power. People fighting to get ahead. But, he presents as wealthy. He got quite wealthy, Putin did, from this whole thing. What's interesting about Putin? He's very involved in his trade. This is, again, a trade card. The fact that old alliances are ending. This is, again, trade, getting his trade out. He has a major trip. Coming up. business deals. He's trying to do business in South America. He's got business in South America. He's trying to save his business contacts because the people that he was working with before are gone, you know. But you can see here he's got a lot of trips coming up and he's concerned about his financial. This is travel. No, he's not running. No, he's not avoiding. And I don't think with those cards, I don't see him getting killed or anything. I do think his Prigozhin, I think, is on thin ice. That guy really, I can't believe the stuff he got away with. Sanctions are definitely killing, are hurting Russia. Do I see Trump fleeing to the Middle East? That's going to be really difficult. Kathy Reagan has a question about. We can go ahead and see it. The problem is these countries have extradition, and to interfere with somebody as powerful as a president being arrested, what country would want to be on thin ice with the State Department? And I think that what country would have the cojones to do that? But let's take a look. To say no to the United States, we will not hand over this incredibly important person who's being charged. To stand up to the United States, the only person that might be willing to do that would be maybe Eastern Europe. And they would probably hand him over as part of some negotiation down the line. But let's take a look. No, he's thought about it. People have talked about him moving to the Middle East, but there are things that keep him here. You can see here he's pretty much trapped. I don't see him even being open to the idea of leaving. And over the issue of travel, walking away from the idea. And instead, he's here to face the music. So I think what people might be picking up on is that it was discussed. Go to Bahrain, go to Dubai. But the problem is that even if a friend of yours invited you to Bahrain or someplace like that, the country would still extradite you. They still have extradition with the United States. They wouldn't risk running afoul of the federal government. What country would have the balls to do that? Israel wouldn't do it. We have extradition. He'd be on the first plane. You want an El Al flight? We put you in business class. We supply America's security, Israel. We're not gonna. We're not gonna run afoul. It's our main source of income. You want him? He's yours. Where do you want us to drop him off? Same with Saudi Arabia. I don't think that they would run afoul of the feds over that guy. Maybe the Middle East as a bargaining tool, which might give him a little bit of safety, but not for not long, right? Will Evan Cochran bring down 45? Evan Cochran bring down 45. Well, he definitely, Jack Smith too. Oh, Prigozhin has a $250,000 reward. Interesting. Evan Cochran, King of Wands, followed the money. See, it's all money investigations. The truth comes out. So, yes, I would say Evan Cochran does have a very strong case against Trump. Strong cards against Trump. Money laundering, corruption, dark deals. When is Jack Smith going to let us know what's going on? Well, we know that he was choreographing with other grand juries, right? And we know that it's looking like Trump will be indicted in August in Georgia, but it's looking like Jack Smith probably sooner. We can try and get as close as possible to the date for Jack Smith. If you haven't had a chance to like and subscribe, it would be great if you could. Think about being a member. We have a lot of fun. We get together on weekends. We teach remote viewing. Jack Smith is ready to prosecute this month within 30 days. He's ready. It's a series of prosecutions. It's not just Trump. He's going to be handing down indictments. So within 30 days, Ace of Wands is an indictment. Here's the police raid. Here's the indictments, pounding them out. Multiple indictments within. Basically, we're looking at police indictments within 30 days. Ace of Wands, I read, is 30 days. This is to be served. We'll do a clarification for people. 30 days, multiple indictments. Yeah, 30 days. They're saying that Trump would go to prison. This is incarceration. A celebration. They were bullied into it. People were bullied. With these cards, I wonder if they're going to start prosecuting Congress with these cards being the way they are, and the way that Marjorie Taylor Greene and all of them were freaking out about being tailed by police. Patience over a case. I don't know. Makes you wonder if this is what Marjorie Taylor Greene was freaking out about. Netanyahu can't give him asylum. It's not up to Netanyahu. It's a democratic country, and we have a Supreme Court, and Netanyahu doesn't have the power to give Trump anything. He's on thin ice anyway, on Netanyahu, for a number of reasons. All right, let's see what other questions we have. Oh, Minute Maya is enjoying The Last Thing Claire Wanted. I enjoyed it too. Well, it was well written. It was very well written. Oh, no problem, Valerie. I'm glad you liked the book. I'm glad everyone's liking the book. A surprise indictment on Trump on Friday. Is that what people are saying? Let's take a look. I would think pretty soon, right? Because he's running for president. But it's really just a grift. Is Trump going to be charged on Friday? It's possible. Yes, it's possible between now and 30 days. Yes. Hmm. Police raid within 30 days. Action. There's confusion over this. Things have to be choreographed. That's what I'm starting to see. Eight of Pentacles, though, that's like pounding it out. That's like more than one. You're not going to get any information at all from Jack Smith. This is sealed. You won't get a one word. He's not going to tell you anything. They're very confident. Star over the prosecution. This is the raid. This is a star. This is Jack Smith, the opposition to Trump, with an Ace of Wands. Emperor with an Ace of Wands. Very strong case against him. Strong partnerships would denote cooperation from other witnesses moving forward. Maximum 1 month before he's prosecuted, maximum. But there's probably going to be, well, you also look at what the jury said out of Georgia, that they couldn't believe the crazy stuff people were doing. When I did a remote on Georgia, when I was asked to do a trance and go in and take a look, it felt to me like constant bullying and harassment campaign that they had in their wisdom thought that if they could bombard and threaten and harass people, that they could cause people to do certain things. And it was just a constant, steady stream of harassment that escalated eventually in people like Trump calling. They couldn't get anywhere. And that's at that point, that's when Trump and Lindsey Graham, but it was harassment and threatening. But yeah, for moving the documents, I can't see how he's going to get out of that with those cards and given the evidence against him. All right, when do we see Diane Feinstein stepping down? All right, let's change the cards up. Time to move the cards around. We're going to go to the medieval Scapini now. Sometimes your cards want to rest. They start repeating and you can't read after a while. It's time to move your cards. Okay. What's going on here? Feinstein. What is going on with Miss Feinstein? She's having some serious health challenges. We know that. Serious health. Let's take a look at what is going on with Diane Feinstein. Is she back at work? She is, right? Is she back at work? Her time in the Senate will probably end within 6 months. But it's a positive thing. These cards are positive and they denote somebody who had a really great career. I mean, it's not a negative that her cards look this way. She has the sun coming out, which is a bright, sunny card of optimism and truth. King of Swords also, which would denote that she's a fighter, the King of Swords, the sun. These are positive cards. Ace of Swords and Page of Wands. Within 1 year, we see a new beginning. So we see this new beginning happening over the year. What's interesting is her hope and fear, Two of Swords, which can be like a refusal to leave or a refusal to see things, and Six of Coins, which can be about balance, justice, making things wrong, that what is wrong, making it right. What's interesting is that her final outcome is the Six of Wands. She gets the whole wide world, Six of Wands. So the situation changes within 6 months, but the cards they're using are cards of optimism and something positive. This is somebody who left a great legacy. The sun, she stands as the king of swords, the sword of truth. I mean, she doesn't present in the cards like somebody who's weak or vulnerable. Even though she's frail now, she presents as somebody who had the sun and the sword of truth. She truly was there because she was a true believer. She believed in what she was doing, and she believed in the rightness of why she was there. And but she is probably going to be leaving in the next within the next 6 months. Trump bucks. I don't know what Trump bucks are. Was it fake money? Is Trump doing fake money now? He's doing everything. It's such an incredibly difficult way to. I find it exhausting. Yes, the debt ceiling. I think we've already done the debt ceiling a few times. They worked it out within 3.5 days energetically. It was already resolved. There were a few little things, probably because MAGA's having a meltdown, because there's nothing that they can do to make MAGA feel better other than to have documents from the feds that they're not going to be prosecuted and stop the investigations, which is really what their main issue is. Stop the feds, defund the police. I mean, it's defund the feds. That's what y'all have to do. You got to defund the FBI because they're after us, right? So that's basically where we find ourselves. All right, we'll do one more, and let's look at the future. We'll do one more on Kevin McCarthy. I don't think Kevin McCarthy has much of a future, to be honest with you, because MAGA defected, right? And they have a right to challenge him. If he does one little thing wrong, we have a right, to challenge him. Weakest speakership in the history of the speakerships, right? So now you've got 12 people saying, we're not going to back this thing because whatever. But who cares? Because if the Democrats vote for it, look, we're not happy. The Democrats aren't happy either because they cut some social programs. But let's see what happens to McCarthy. Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to vote for it because she says she trusts Kevin McCarthy. So he will get Marjorie Taylor Greene to go along with it. It'll pass with slim. There'll be some resistance from the Republicans, but it'll pass. And the guy is really got to be on thin ice, clean and sober, grief. The ladies, lovers reaching across the aisle. His hopes and fears, the conflict, and being able to move forward, right? His power is the outcome. The Four of Pentacles, which is frugality. So the takeaway here is by the skin of his teeth, he gets it through. It's interesting to go into the energy of Marjorie Taylor Greene in the remote, where she's, I trust you, Kevin. I trust you. It may not be everything we wanted, but I trust you. There's this trust that Marjorie Taylor Greene is giving him, but you don't get that impression with the hardliners, with all the hardliners, even though she's pretty cray-cray about everything. All right, so we hope you enjoyed the blitzes, everybody. No, Kathleen O'Malley, I don't think that that's something that we're going to be seeing anytime soon, is term limits. I don't even think that it's come up. I know there are people that are fighting for term limits, but we also have people on the left that don't want term limits. Term limits would be that we would have had nobody defending the left for how long? There was a long period when the only representation we had in the Senate was Bernie Sanders. So do we really want term limits? So it cuts both ways. You know what I'm saying? So there are people that don't want term limits because it would have meant Bernie Sanders would have been out. So I don't know. It's something that we have to think about. Okay, so thank you, everybody. Now, if you want to stick around and join our book club, get together. We're talking about The Last Thing Claire Wanted. So I guess my first question to people is, who here, what do you think about the book was the first thing. I was surprised at how well it was written. That's the first thing I would say. I was surprised. I didn't, I had heard about the book. I'd spoken to the author. She was working on the book, and but I didn't know it was going to be that good. I was surprised at how good the book was. Um, I got pulled into the story around page 12, like I had said. That was right around the time, and I'll talk a little bit about right around the time when she decides to take on the case, when Anne McCormick decided to take on the case. It had a lot of twists and turns, I thought, Melissa. When did you know who the killer was? Don't mention who you think who the killer is, by the way. It's like a lot of people haven't finished reading it yet. But at the end, now I'm still confused, and I finished the book about the killer because I'm wondering about all of that. What did you think about the development of the characters? Did you feel like these were people that you knew? Because I've spent a lot of time in California, and I really felt, what these folks reminded me of? They reminded me of people who had come to California, part of the Dust Bowl refugee from the Midwest, devout Catholic, large family, and they kind of, you felt like you really knew them in that sense, right? It was like, Midwest family sets up in California. All right, here's my next question for people who read the book. Did you feel that it would make a good mini series? Do you think that it would go well as a good mini series on, say, Netflix? Yeah, I thought the characters were really, really strong. Did you feel like there were any holes in the plot or any holes that bothered you in terms of character development, like Anne's marriage, the backstory? I felt like I wanted to have more information about Anne's backstory. Yeah. Yeah, the killer would have to have had a motive. Yeah. So, you know, where my head went, I thought it was a pedophile, right, from next door. Thought it was the sexy Tony. I thought it was the cops. You know, I suspected it was the cops because the cops didn't. Why'd you close the case? So then I thought it was Michelle. Then I thought it was Noreen. Then I thought it was Peter. Yeah, so I pretty much, yeah, I pretty much felt like it was everybody. But great job, great book. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And anybody else have any feedback for the author? Uh, would you like to see a sequel? Would you like to see the character, like Sherlock Holmes? Could you see this character staying and solving other cases? I could. Yeah. Yes to both. Yes, I could see it as a mini series. And yes, I could see her solving other cases. Yeah, that was something I was thinking about too, Melissa, was with Michelle. That was the one thing that I kind of, yes, antisocial personality disorder because Michelle was abused, but uh I also kind of was like, just because someone's a child abuse survivor, most turn out to be really nice people and more sensitive. People who've had hard childhoods often tend to be more sensitive, more loving, sometimes because they've had rough things happen. So they're, oh, right now you think it's Peter. Yeah, Peter is one of the suspects. Peter's a suspect. Well, I'll give you what my list was. Peter was a suspect. Noreen was a suspect. Tony was a suspect. Jack was a suspect. I thought the cops might have done it, you know. Um, oh, the case of the watch, the father's watch. I thought the father had been blackmailed and that's why, and maybe he had paid somebody with the watch. They had seen something, like maybe the father was off doing something he shouldn't have been doing. Yeah. Yeah, right, Melissa. Yeah. Well, I had fun. Okay, that's pretty much everything I have for the Tuesday show. I'm glad you guys liked our book selection. Who's going to be reading? This one's thinner. This one next month, June. We should be able to get through this pretty quickly. Ooh, I'm looking forward to this because this is the kind of book I love. It's a road. She goes on a journey, and you're going to be able to see like inside, like Skid Row in California and stuff like that. Urban Voices Project, Los Angeles. Yeah, so this is next month's. All right, everybody. I will see you all later. If you're trying to get in for a reading, you can go to tarotwithwhimsy.com. Or if you just need a quick reading, you can go to Wizio. Or if you need a general health coaching, that information is also below this video. Thank you so much, Karen Sanford, for your amazing book. And is there anything else we want to say? Oh, and yeah, I guess I'll see you guys. If you're coming to class, it's going to be tomorrow, 6 p.m. And we're going to be discussing the trance state, how to get into a trance. And yeah, that's it. All right, I'll see you guys later. Thanks, everyone.